Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Really great to have you all here. So here we are on a new day of the week, Thursday. That's quite unusual, isn't it? I had to remind myself, actually, I was wandering off into La La Land a little while ago, chilling by the TV, unwinding, getting ready to get to bed. And I was like, hold on a second, something's not right here. Oh, it's Thursday. I'll have to reprogram my week to get Thursday set up now. So here we are. Welcome. Thank you so much. So let's just give it another minute or so to get some last minute people in. If you want to send a message off to anyone that you know that could benefit from the training, then do send out a message to them, get them here. If you've got anybody new that's recently signed up, definitely get them here. And let's start bringing your teams together, gelling together, so you can start moving forward together. It's that time of the month, coming to the end of the month, where we've got targets to hit. We've got last minute. All of us are close to the next rank or closing out the current rank, whatever you're up to. Make sure that you go into your back office, check your dials, and get yourself dialed in, as they say. So what are we going to talk about tonight? I want to talk a little bit about the follow-up today. So following up and the importance of that and how we can follow up. So different stages of business growth. How does it work? Well, we know the number one seal. Well, the foundation of everything is personal development, always working on yourself, listening to the good stuff on a regular basis. A minimum, I mean, if you've got a full-time job, full-time family, and a full life, but you still want to get yourself involved and building a side hustle, the minimum, in my opinion, that you want to be doing in terms of input, good quality content input, is around half an hour a day. All right, half an hour a day, like maybe 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening before you hit the sack. If you can just get that in there, and if you can do more, wonderful. But 15 minutes a day each side of the day consistently when you wake up, when you go to bed, is going to add so much value long term to your ability to build, lead, and influence. So that you just want to get committed to and get done. All right. So just make it part of your daily routine. That's a habit that just weaves in to anywhere in your life. The beautiful thing about content going into your head is it can be done on the go. All right. It's not something you need to set time aside for, but it is something you need to set intention towards. You can listen to good stuff on your commute to work, for example, to and from. You can listen to good stuff while you're in the shower. You can listen to good stuff while you're dozing off. There's, like just before you go to bed. So there's lots of ways where you can just fit this in. It's not like you're going to schedule a part of your day out. It's kind of works parallel. When you're consistently putting in alongside what you're doing, it will start adding value anyway. In fact, many, many years ago, in the early days, I used to leave it running all night while you're sleeping on a low volume in the background, turns into white sound ultimately, and eventually you'll be sleeping with that good stuff playing in the background. And what's really amazing, this is, again, scientifically proven with studies done over and over again, that your subconscious is always working and always on. So even when you're sleeping, your subconscious is listening and absorbing. All right. So this, again, the more you study this stuff, the more you can do for yourself and work it out for yourself as you go along. So that's the foundation of everything. Then, of course, we've got to learn how to invite. So, speaking, communicating, improving your flexibility in approach, your language, your wording, how to create excitement, how to pique interest, how to create curiosity, all of the things that you can do in an invitation. And we cover that on other Zooms as well. Then we have the presentation, the information exchange, many different ways you can do that. The first presentation actually is oftentimes a very casual verbal presentation. All right. So, for example, the invitation is normally curiosity and excitement and enthusiasm and speed to get them to a presentation. But if it's somebody you know really well, a brother, a sister, a close friend, you can have what I call a powerful contextual conversation. And by contextual conversation, I mean, for example, you could say something along the lines of, hey, George, listen, do you know what? I've recently got involved with an organization and a group of people that are really doing some amazing things in the crypto world. Now, I don't know if you're involved in crypto already or not. I'm new to crypto, or whatever your story is, you build your story. And these guys have created a way where you can leverage their expertise, their collective expertise, and plug into their system. And as a result of doing that, I'm now getting crypto put into my wallet every single day on autopilot. I'd love to share more with you. Boom. So again, depending on the relationship, the rapport you've got, the stage of that relationship, etc., you can carve your invitation out accordingly. The presentation, so that's like a elevator pitch presentation, but the presentation ideally always needs to be done by somebody that is of higher rank and has achieved and produced and is very, very familiar with their project. All right. So somebody that can deliver powerfully, not fumbling, not trying to explain, etc. Just like gets it done professionally. Very short, sharp interaction, presentation delivered. But what's more important than the presentation is always the follow-up. For me, this was a big, big, big gap to cover, because I was always good at communicating. I've always been a people person. So inviting people was never an issue. I've always been a social butterfly, having contacts, having connections, having a list of people to speak to. Never had issues with any of those things. Quite a out there personality. So presenting was never a problem. I could happily sit down with somebody. Back in the day, it was with a flip chart, flipping over the pages and doing a presentation. And these days it would be a PowerPoint presentation or a PDF presentation on the phone or on a laptop, no problem. But the follow-up was where my big learning was. And I often say that there's millions in the follow-up, right? There's fortunes in the follow-up. It's a big one that most people miss. So the follow-up looks different for different people. For me, it's something that, again, a lot of it's based on rapport, relationship, etc. The closer you can get it done to the presentation, the better. Immediately after the presentation, brilliant. Give them a window to simmer and come up with some more questions if they need to, not a prerequisite. Oftentimes we give people, we direct them in that way when it's not even necessary. If somebody's ready, sign them up. If they're ready, onboard them. But if there's a need for them to then, after the presentation, go off and check out the background, do some due diligence, or speak to their partners, on partners. If you can include life partners in the invitation, include them in the presentation, then a lot of your work is done. Another big hole in the journey where people fall through is that we get one person of the decision-making party to a presentation, but the other one isn't there. And then when they go off and speak to their relevant partner, the partner doesn't know anything. They're all excited. They've just seen a presentation, but there's no way they can explain it. They don't have the decision-making power, and the person that they need to get the decision over the line often will make the opposite decision to them and put them off, tell them to calm down, blah, blah, blah. All sorts of weird and wonderful things happen when the person's gone off on their own into their world after a presentation. So if you can close the deal, again, the purpose of following up is to answer questions, get them comfortable, and then ultimately get them over the line. All right. Closing the deal is the purpose of follow-up. Sometimes that's done immediately after a presentation. Sometimes it takes a couple of follow-ups, 2 or 3, right? For example, if there is a partner that didn't see the presentation, a follow-up could be, hey, listen, if you've got some resistance from your partner, let's jump on a Zoom with them and go through the brief with them. Cool. So again, the third party is always the expert. So in the follow-up, the third party being the expert, you want your upline to do that presentation or mini presentation to the partner or somebody further up in the team that's moved up a rank or 2, so that it's not the person you don't get your people trying to convince their partner because they're too familiar, too close. Familiarity, what's the phrase? Familiarity breeds contempt. So people that are close to you, they'll love you, but they won't listen to you. It's just the nature of human beings. It's just how we're wired. So we will dismiss much of what our partners say, but if our partners authoritative, expert, business partner, mentor, coach, friend says it, we're more likely to have some of that land. All right. So that's one way of a follow-up. Another follow-up could be a personal meeting where you know, again, because of that part of making them feel comfortable and getting them over that closing the deal, getting them over the line. Face-to-face personal interaction makes a lot of difference for a lot of people. So again, if you can do that with your upline present, brilliant. Not always needed. If they're brother, sister, friend, then, you know, maybe just having somebody on the phone is enough. But sometimes you want to, you know, back in the day, I used to shadow, what we call it shadow. I'd shadow my upline. So I would literally go to my friends or anybody's house that we were presenting to or had been presented to, or even if it was a first time presentation, I'd take someone with me. We'd go together and they would present and I would sit and listen and learn and make notes so that my guest was watching and seeing that I was being a student. Perfect duplication, because then next time when the guest had somebody, then I would be that person that would go and presenting and they would be the one sitting, listening, making notes and learning. And so that duplicates through your organization. So all of these things duplicate, right? How you invite, your team can invite that way if that's how you do it. How you present or how the presentation happens, your team can follow that same process. How the follow-up happens, the team can follow that same process. The more you can systemize, automate, and create processes for people to follow that are what I call unconscious, like you don't have to think about them. You want to create an unconscious competence in your organization. You want to create the ability for people to feel like what they do next comes naturally, not like, oh, what do I have to do next? But again, practice over time brings that into play, all right? And then systems and something that they can follow step by step. So invitation, presentation, follow up, close the deal, and then training them on the basics, how to onboard, how to withdraw. So, you know, coming in, coming out, how to sign people up, you know, navigate around the back office a little bit. Where's the sign up link? Where is your daily, where to find the daily rewards? Just, you know, going through some basic back office training and then stressing the importance of plugging in. All right. So duplication happens best when people are plugged in. Duplication happens best when it's consistent. All right. Hence why we have these now Thursday night nuts and bolts trainings. You want to take advantage of that. A ton of the workload for you is done when you have your people here. A lot of your, it's just leverage. That's all this is. It leverages your effort. These events are designed to leverage your effort, right? You might have presented to 3, 4, 5 people during the week. Bring them all to the Monday night presentation. So again, it evidences there's others around and that there's, you know, a wider angle lens available for them than just the micro lens that they've experienced with you and them interacting with each other. Maybe they watched a recorded presentation on a Zoom with you, no community around, no interaction around. So the initial touch points may have been micro, and then at some point you want to give them a macro experience so that there's a social proof, social evidence. Oh, okay, there are others on the journey. That's kind of how the picture then starts to come together. So that's the process, right? So training, again, and the training is the regurgitation of that cycle. So you're teaching them. So once you've given them a little bit of back office training, saying, right, by the way, there's a system here. Number one, listen to some good stuff every day for at least 15 minutes, you know, first thing, and 15 minutes in the evening. Let's get your list together. Who are the first 15, 20, 30 people you want to invite? Let's put the names down on a piece of paper. Tell me a little bit about them, and let's get them invited. Again, based on their experience levels, if they're brand new, you'll even profile their guests with them. All right. So if somebody's brand new, never done network marketing before, you could actually sit down with them and say, right, tell me a little bit about these 15, 20 people, about your top 30 people. Who are they? How are they qualified? Like, you know, what makes you think that they're the best business partners for you? What are you excited about having them in your team and working with you? What excites you about that? Create some relationship to the list so it becomes personal. And then if that invitation happens from that angle where they're making a difference, where they're contributing, where they see the impact that they can have on somebody's life, then they're more passionate about doing the invitation, about getting them to a Zoom, getting them to a presentation. So all of these things come together. So with regards to the follow-up, 3-way call. Very, very powerful. And that can happen at any time, right? So again, a three-way call with your upline, with your sponsor, with your nearest ranked leader. So again, anyone that's director 1 or 2 and above is good enough to get on a call. It just is about edification, somebody that's done something. So the minute you've got that person working with you in tandem, hand in hand, then you naturally will learn faster, but also you will build faster because you're not doing it alone and you're leveraging teamwork. All right. Teamwork is the secret key to all of this. It's the invisible bullet. Nobody quite understands the impact of teamwork until they use it. And then they go, oh my God, that was powerful. Just because I got Sharon on that call, she was able to say something that I probably wouldn't have said. She had a deeper understanding than I did of a certain thing, mentioned it, closed the deal. So always use that third party conversation. Again, if it's after a presentation, I will always press for the close. As soon as somebody's seen a presentation, I'll be like, look, should we just get you on board right now? And then you can play around in the back office and choose the rest of your products and upgrades and the rest of it when you're ready. So I just want to get them signed up. I don't really care of the amount when I'm starting out. I just want to get them onboarded. All right. Because here's what we know. Even if they come in with a small €1,000 package, when they see the rewards dropping every day, if they are able and they've got some liquid availability, some cash stashed in the back of the wardrobe or something, if they've got something available that's sitting there collecting dust and doing nothing, they will go and buy another 2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 or 10 or whatever it is that is their appetite for a project like this. All right. So get them in. That's our job. Get them in, get them onboarded. And then once they're in, they're tasting it. Make sure that you, and again, part of the follow-up is once they're in, there's a follow-up. So there's a follow-up to close, but once they're in, then there's a follow-up to follow up. So once they're in, then you can hit them back 3 days later, 4 days later, when they've had a chance to log into the back office, play around a little bit, maybe have a couple of invites, ask them how it's going. Who have you invited? Who have you spoken to? What's the responses been like? Get feedback. All right. Ideally, you want to train them to give you feedback, but if they're not, you can follow up for feedback. You can upgrade with follow-ups all the time. We do that. Call them up once, 10 days have passed. They've had some minting. Give it 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, when they've had 3-4 days of minting, call them up. Have you logged in? Because we know that people don't log in. It's not part of their daily habit. Have you logged in? Oh, yes, I have. Great. Have you noticed what's going on in the back office? Have you seen the daily rewards popping in? Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Good. So, do you want to have a look at the Zenit program now? Or do you want to look at maybe adding to that? Where are you at with it all? If they haven't logged in, oh, quick, let's jump on now. Let me show you. Let me show you what's happened while you've been away, busy with life. Oh, by the way, have you been listening to your personal development 15 minutes every morning and evening? Ask them the question, have they been doing the little things that need to be done for them to move along, for them to grow, for them to start to understand how this works? It's a little bit like our own ecosystem of network marketing, right? It's like there's different pieces of the puzzle that need to come together for the whole thing to fall into place, right? A bit like a Rubik's Cube in the beginning, trying to get all the colors matched up and get the T's sorted out. And, there's a process, there's a method to the madness. So following up is not just about following people up to close the deal. You can follow people up that said no. Ask for permission. Bernard, listen, I know that you came to a presentation, timing wasn't right for you, but do you mind if I keep in touch with you maybe a month from now and we just touch base again? And if they say, no, not at all, that's fine. Most people will be polite enough to say, yeah, sure, we can keep in touch. A month down the line, put it in your diary, follow up. Do you mind if I just drop some messages to you from time to time every week? Updates. No, that's all right. You can do that. Great. They go into another little group, updates, and you drop in little news articles, pictures, whatever you want from the official sites where information is being updated. So any updates that come along, any new things that are happening, keep them informed. Just dripping on people over time. When you stay on their radar, again, it's that consistency that at some point, timing is everything. We know that. At some point, when they hit a wall in life, when they have a little bit of a moment where maybe there's a little bit too many bills coming in and not enough cash flow sitting around, guess who they're going to think of? They're going to remember you. You know what? Kalpesh is always on my case about trying to make some extra money on the side. Let me know, I wish I'd listened to him. Next time you ping them, okay, let me reach out. Kalpesh, you know what? What was that thing again you were talking about? The number of times I have had, honestly, you can't even count the number of times where people have reached out to me. In fact, I signed some people up yesterday in India that I showed this to in June last year. And then, we stayed in touch. They went off, they did some other things, and they've come full circle, and they reached out to me a few days ago and said, Kalpesh, we wish we'd listened to you back then. How's it all going? I told them how it's all going. Wonderful. We're ready to get started. Boom. Why? Because I was dripping on them the whole time. I stayed on their radar. Now, if I just pitched them last June or July and then forgotten about them, when they were ready, when the timing was right, when things changed and they were ready to onboard with something, I may not have been on their radar, and they may have wandered off in the direction of somebody else that was on their radar. So follow-up is so many things at different stages to different people. So again, that's why they say the fortune is in the follow-up. You'll build monster businesses when you are following up consistently over time. Again, they want to see that you're consistent. If you're still doing what you were doing back then, the longer you're doing something, the more you become credible to them, the more you become the go-to person, the expert, the authority of that thing to them. If you're always doing something different, every time you're touching base is a different conversation, you may not have the same impact. Then they'll just see that you're throwing stuff at the wall, hoping some of it works, hoping some of it doesn't. You're not carrying any level of authority around yourself. You're not carrying any focus. You're not demonstrating leadership, right? Be a bit like, hey guys, I'm conservative today. And then tomorrow, hey guys, I've decided to be Labour today. And then actually, she'll go for Liberal today. And people are like, what do you actually stand for? Like, what direction you actually go? Who are you? What are you about? Is it just about grabbing what you can grab when you can grab it, or is there some substance underneath? Is there a foundation to what you're talking about? Is there a method to what you're up to? When you're consistent, you do that. The relationship to you will subconsciously become that you are leading, that you are focused, that you are serious, that you're unmovable, you're unshakable, that you're committed. And people want that. People want to be led. Most people want to be led. So become the leader that they want to be led by. They want to, most people need instruction in everything. Most people need guidance. They need direction. Most people, it's just that, again, it's the lay of the land of human beings. We're used to it. We're programmed that way from a young age. Our ability to think for ourselves and make decisions for ourselves is taken from us when we are children. All right? Decisions are made for us from a very young age. When to wake up is determined by when the alarm goes off. When we have dinner breaks and lunch breaks is dependent on when the school bells go off. What times, every time there's a new class, the bell goes off, everyone swaps rooms. Another bell goes off, we swap rooms again, it's like musical chairs. Another bell goes off, that one's for lunchtime. Another bell goes off, that's for home time. We're trained to follow instructions. Oh, when this happens, I do that. When this happens, I do that. And then that follows through in work as well. When this happens, I do that. When this happens, I do that. This gets rewarded. That activity doesn't get rewarded. We're used to that. Most people are not self-led. So when you give them instructions and then hold them to account to those instructions, don't feel bad. Accountability is missing for most people. Hold people accountable, not like their boss. You're not their boss. You'll never be their boss. Everyone is self-employed here, but there is a leadership structure. There is a hierarchy of, if you like, direction. And that leadership structure is based on predominantly ranks. If you're where they want to be, you can lead them to that place. Can you see? Again, the importance of ranking up yourself. As much as you can stay ahead of your team, the better, because now you can lead them to that place. There's so many little things that you can do, the dynamics of how this works, that you can do for yourself. Again, if you're not consistently bringing new people on your front line, guess what? You'll only have to look to level 2 and 3 and see the same thing is happening there. If you are consistently bringing people on your front line, guess what? Your level 2 is filling up nicely, and so is your level 3. It's just numbers. It's how they map out, right? Just how they map out. And then understanding in advance, follow up with yourself, right? Like that's a new one. As I'm talking, like this is the follow up with yourself, right? Are you accountable? Are you holding yourself to account? Are you like, I have targets. I want to know that, I am always, my front line never stops. Like my goal always is going into the hundreds, right? So through the process of building, my first goal is how quickly can I get 100 people front line? Always my first goal. How quickly can I get 100 front line? Once that's done, how quickly can I get to 200? When 200 done, how quickly can I get to 300? There's no end to it, but it holds me accountable. Then I've got something to aim for, something to go for. Otherwise, we're lazy, right? We just are. Again, understand human nature. We are naturally lazy. And not lazy that's probably the wrong word to even use. We are naturally horizontal. Like we just, we want to chill out. We want to take it easy. We don't want to put ourselves under any pressure or through any eyes of the needle. We don't want to be in the middle of a storm. We don't want any of that. We want to chill out. It's the default of human behavior to want to chill out, right? We'll put a whole day in at work, 8 hours, 9 hours with the commute, 9.5, 10 hours with the commute. But when we get home, we collapse on the sofa. We want to chill out. The only reason we did the 8, 9 hours is because somebody's paying us. We're kind of standing to attention, right? Because we need that money to pay the bills. We don't want to do that, but there's an accountability. We have to do that, so we do it. So when there's accountability, we have to do something, we're more than capable. We get it done. So why not get it done for ourselves? If we can find the energy to do 8 hours a day for someone else, and we all should, we must do that if that's where we're at, if that's the stage we're at, because that's accountable to your family, to make sure that you're contributing and doing your bit and pulling your weight and paying the bills. But if we know that humans have the ability to do that, then surely you've got the ability to stick in another couple of hours for yourself. Another couple of hours each day to advance your personal business, to build your own empire. Even an hour, like at worst, an hour a day during the week, if you've got a full-time job and full-time family, an hour a day, we can pull out the bag, right? We can pull out an hour a day. Doesn't have to be all at once. It might be 2 half-hour slots. You might have a quick lunch instead of a big lunch and spend half an hour in your lunchtime and another half an hour at home at some point in the evening. Find the hour a day. It's that consistency that builds the strength, right? So following up with yourself, check in on yourself. Are you doing the little things that make all the difference? Are you doing what leaders do? Are you doing what builders do? Check. Tick the boxes. Yeah. Are you getting it done? Are you listening to the stuff? It's all well and good telling others to listen to something, but are you listening to it? Are you feeding your mind with information that keeps your sword sharp, keeps you light on your feet, keeps you fresh, keeps you plugged in? Just check in on yourself. Because again, we're lazy. We'll easily default, expect others to do it when we're not doing it ourselves, right? But when you're doing it, then your command is much more congruent. You've got a ton more influence. And when I ask you to invite people, I have no issue asking you to invite people because I'm inviting people every day. Not a day will go by when I haven't invited somebody, right? Just so I don't have any issues around speaking to anyone about inviting people every day because it's a part of my daily routine. But if it's not a part of my daily routine, and then I'm speaking to my new people, trying to motivate them, but I'm not doing it, the subconscious is what they'll pick up. They'll be like, well, you want me to do something, you're not even doing it yourself. So again, all of these things come into play, all right? So who you are as a leader, how you show up is how things duplicate. And here's the other thing, for the most part, right? Not 100% of you will duplicate in your organization. Very rarely will you find somebody in your organization that keeps up with your pace. So know that in advance. Most people do a fraction of what you do. So if you're just doing a fraction, they're doing a fraction of a fraction. So at least try what you're doing. At least try and keep it as whole numbers, right? Don't start doing half numbers and quarter numbers. At least keep whole numbers around you so that a fraction of that duplication creates something below. So just, know that as well, that normally a fraction of you duplicates. Now, on the odd occasion that somebody is duplicating you or even outdoing you, like outperforming you, they're the ones you want to grab a hold of and run with at 100 miles an hour. They will give you energy. All right. They're the ones that power back up to you, because everybody needs empowering. So when you find somebody in your organization that's got a big dream, that's got a big vision for themselves, that wants to do something great for themselves, and they show you that, and they're showing up every day, they're attending the Zooms, they're making the calls, they're giving you feedback, plug in with them, buddy up with them. All right. A buddy system will always improve your results. Again, part of that accountability. So you're searching for those people, searching for the diamonds in your organization, or the coal in your organization that has got the potential to become a diamond. All right. So some people just show up as diamonds. When that happens, count your blessings, thank the universe. They will charge you up. And some people will become diamonds as a result of your mentoring and your, supporting and helping them grow. So, just understand the dynamics of how all of that comes together. So I'm going to come into the room and get some interaction from you guys. What did you pick up from that? Did you see any gaps for yourself? There's a hand raise button at the bottom, reactions. I want to start off with Goran. Hi, Goran. Thanks for raising your hand. Feel free to unmute.
Kalpesh, great session as always. Sorry, my throat's getting a bit croaky here.
That's
but
all right.
Looking forward to catching up next week in Dubai. Look, guys, you just had another masterclass in how to build a business. So thank you for that. I think when you talk about follow-up, it's about scheduling it. If you whatever you schedule, guys, becomes more likely to be achieved. If you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. And if you've only got, as Kalpesh was saying, an hour, look at what the dollar producing activities are. They're contacting, they're presenting, they're following up, and they're getting someone started. That's really it. There's nothing else that makes money or creates crypto flow for us than those four things. So make sure that inside of the hour that you are doing a certain percentage of each of those things. Now, if you've got no one to get started and you've got no one to follow up with, obviously it's about prospecting, it's about approaching. So, but if you've got people, like in the last couple of days, I've had a friend from Australia over who's been traveling around Europe. So sort of been looking after him and catching up, because I haven't seen him for 7 or 8 years. But, you can always find a little bit of time to reach out to people. And I've set up 4 meetings for today, while we've, been for a bit of a joyride, cruising around our local area, showing the sites and things like that. It's not that difficult to do sometimes, but I had a mindset around how many I wanted to connect with today, and was able to set up 4 meetings. Now, one of those meetings is with someone in my team. He joined, he's never done a single thing, but I've been dripping on him over the last few weeks. And today was kind of the drip that cracked the damn wall open. And now he wants to engage. And you know what it was? It was funny. It was flicking him the video of the upcoming smartphone. Some you don't know what it is, guys. Sometimes you don't know what it is. Kalpesh is a master promoter. If you're on, I'm sure many on here are on TKP Millionaires. Every single day, multiple promotions going on. You don't know what it is that's going to switch someone over, get someone lit up, okay? And the point you made before about, which is such a relevant point, all of us, what are we now, the 23rd of the month? Do you want a simple strategy, guys, right now to make sure that your check, it's not really a check, that the amount of Bitcoin, LFI you earn increases by the end of the month? The simplest thing you can do. If you've got a group of more than 5, 10, 15, 20 people, some of you on the call here have got hundreds in your group, start getting to them. And the vast majority of these people have not, as Kalpesh said, locked into their back office. I've had personal experience of this in the last couple of weeks, where I've reached out to people and they hadn't logged in for 2 months. I mean, every month we're meant to pay fees, okay? But I couldn't believe it when I found out, in fact, this morning, messaging someone in Australia, they didn't even know how to do it. It's like, what? Now they're in debt, okay? But I had assumed that the people in between me and them had taught them no. And they've got like 1,000 LFI sitting there, And then it's about revisiting. Well, what's your objective with this? Oh, I want to, make consistent income. So why don't you take that and put that into getting more packages? Guys, you could increase your volume. Who knows how much? So simply because many of you, many of us, many of your people have got people in their teams that have been around for months and months and months. And honestly, they've probably never moved their production. And of course, right now we need to migrate everyone's accounts to 3.0. But, a lot of these guys will never have moved their production from the production wallet to the LFI custody. Okay. And so, and from that point of view, they might have 5, 6, 7, 800, 1,000, who knows? I did this with someone a month ago when I was in Melbourne, caught up with him. So when was the last time you logged into your back office? He goes, I don't know, September. What? So we went into his back office. He had over 2,000 euros worth, or dollars, whatever it was. It was 2,000 euros worth of LFI. What? It's like 2,700 euro LFI. It was like 2,000 euros. So, we got him some, we ended up talking through, we got him some Zenit, and we got him some Cloud Minting, extra. So guys, you don't know, and that's volume. Guess what? He's in a leg that has, there's a director 1 above him. Okay. But actually, sorry, no, he's got a director 100. He's not a rank. I made 30. I'm Ambassador Tenstar. I made 31% on that. He's not front line. He's in depth. But I've made 31% on that. Do you see what I'm saying, guys? Like, even if you're ranked director 1 and you're getting 5%, wouldn't you rather get 5% on something? I mean, what did J. Paul Getty say all those years ago about, I'd rather make 1% on 100 people's efforts than 100% on just my own effort, right? So you have a chance right now. You spend a little bit of your time connecting with the people in your team over the next few days and get them, and maybe you need to spend the time to do it with them. Get them into their back office, see what they've got. If they've got enough to do a rebuy, promote the benefits of getting another package. All right. It's volume in your business. Obviously, it's going to benefit them because they're leveraging their minting packages. They're going to start getting more rewards once those machines clog in. Make sense?
Brilliant.
But thanks again. And guys, just stay tuned because there's been a really important announcement tomorrow afternoon about something that's happening. So stay tuned for that. Okay. You'll find out tomorrow afternoon and be ready. All right. That's all I'm going to say.
Love it. Thanks. You, Goran. Be ready. On your marks, get set.
Be ready.
All right. And Scott, sorry.
It is Kanaksi Jadeja.
Kanaksi, hi, how are you? Good to see you again.
Yes, I just wanted to say hi to everyone. I do not have any questions because I have just started today. So in today's topic, we have talked about follow-up. So I'm not there yet. Yes. But yes, it was a wonderful learning. I just want to say that, yes, follow-up matters. So why? Because my mentor...
We had a follow-up call, didn't we, together?
Yes. So follow-up matters because my mentor, Mr. Pinoki Sen from India, have done enough follow-up with me to start working on this project. I have invested the money and I have earning every month, but I was not doing anything about this to